You ever hear about the old Riverside Industrial Complex? No. Good. Most people haven't. And the ones who have, they don't talk about it. See, this place has been locked down since August of 1983. Not abandoned, sealed. Chain link fence, concrete barriers, the whole 9 yards. City Council voted unanimously to condemn it after what they called structural concerns. But here's the thing, nobody ever tore down. For 42 years, that building just sat there, right off exit 12 on the interstate. You've probably driven past it 100 times without even noticing. It's one of those places that your eyes just kinda slide off of. You know? Like your brain doesn't want to register it. My name's Tyler, and I'm an urban explorer. Been doing this shit for about 8 years now. Abandoned hospitals, old prisons, forgotten subway tunnels, I've seen it all. Or at least, I thought I had. Last month, I got a message from this kid named Ethan, 22, film student. Wanted to make a documentary about forgotten places. He'd seen my YouTube channel and wanted me to show him the ropes. I usually work alone, but the kid seemed cool. Plus, he had a decent camera setup, and I figured the extra footage couldn't hurt. That's when he mentioned Riverside. Dude, we have to check out that old factory off exit 12. He said. We were sitting in this shitty diner at like 2 in the morning, planning our next exploration. I've been researching it. That place has been closed since the 80s, and nobody knows why. No news reports, no official statements. It's like everyone just collectively agreed to forget about it. I took a sip of my coffee. It was burned, but I didn't care. There's a reason nobody goes there. Man, yeah. What's that? I shrugged. Don't know. Just heard stories. That's all. People say it's got bad energy. A few urban explorers tried to get in over the years. None of them ever posted footage. One guy I knew, Marcus, he tried to sneak in back in 2019. Came back 3 hours later white as a fucking ghost. Wouldn't talk about what he saw. Deleted all his social media a week later and moved to Colorado. Ethan's eyes lit up. That's exactly why we need to go. I should have said no. I really should have said no. But I didn't. 2 weeks later, we were parked outside the fence at 3 in the morning. The Riverside Industrial Complex was massive, 6 stories of concrete and rust. Windows either boarded up or shattered, covered in 40 years of grime and decay. The whole thing was surrounded by a 12-foot chain link fence with barbed wire on top. But fences don't mean shit when you know what you're doing. We found a section in the back where the fence had rotted away at the base. Took us maybe 10 minutes to pry it up enough to slide through. You sure about this? I asked Ethan as we stood at the main entrance. The door had been welded shut with metal plates, but someone, probably kids or other explorers, had already cut a hole through the bottom left corner, just big enough to crawl through. Ethan grinned, camera already rolling. Too late to back out now. He wasn't wrong. I clicked on my flashlight and squeezed through the opening. The smell hit me immediately. Rust. Mold. Something else, something organic that I couldn't quite place. Like rotting meat, but older, staler. We emerged into what looked like a reception area. The floor was covered in broken glass, old papers, and debris. There was a desk near the back, half collapsed, covered in dust so thick it looked like snow. Holy shit, Ethan whispered, panning his camera across the room. This is incredible. I didn't say anything. I was too busy staring at the walls. They were covered in graffiti, but not the usual tags or spray paint. These were scratches, deep, frantic gouges in the plaster, like someone had clawed at the walls with their bare hands. And there were words. Don't go. Upstairs IT knows left you as here basement. God. Basement. Jesus, I muttered. Bro, check this out, Ethan said, kneeling down near the desk. He brushed away some of the dust, revealing something underneath. A calendar. August 1983. The last date circled was August 17th. That's gotta be the day they closed it, Ethan said. I nodded slowly, but my gut was telling me something else. That date didn't feel like a closing. It felt like an ending. We moved deeper into the building. The main floor was a maze of hallways and offices, all of them in various states of decay. Some doors were hanging off their hinges. Others were still sealed shut, rusted locks refusing to budge. That's when Ethan stopped dead in his tracks. Tyler. His voice was tight. Scared. What? He pointed his camera at the floor. Footprints. Fresh. Muddy. Recent. Leading from the entrance we just come through and disappearing down the hallway ahead of us. But here's what made my blood go cold. They weren't human footprints. They were too long, too narrow, and the spacing between them was all wrong. Like whatever made them was either walking on its toes or taking steps that were way too far apart. What the fuck is that? Ethan whispered. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because I just noticed something else. The footprints weren't just going forward. They were also coming back. Overlapping, circling, like whatever made them had been pacing this hallway over and over and over again. We should leave, I said quietly. Are you kidding? This is insane. We just found Ethan. We need to fucking leave. But before either of us could move, we heard it. A sound from somewhere above us. Thump. Thump. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Coming from the second floor. Okay. Look, I know what you're thinking. Why didn't you just leave? Why the hell would you go toward the sound? And you'd be right. We should have hauled us out of there the second we heard those footsteps. But here's the thing about fear, it doesn't always make you run. Sometimes it paralyzes you, and sometimes it makes you curious. Ethan and I stood in that hallway for what felt like an eternity, listening to those footsteps echo through the building. They were slow, methodical, moving from one side of the ceiling to the other, like something was pacing back and forth. It's probably just structural shifting, Ethan whispered, but his voice cracked. Old buildings make noise all the time, right? I wanted to believe him. I really did. But those weren't random sounds. They had rhythm, intent, and then they stopped. Complete silence. Ethan exhaled slowly. See? Just the building settling crash. Something heavy slammed into the floor above us, so hard that dust rained down from the ceiling. I felt the vibration through my boots. Fuck this, I hissed, grabbing Ethan's shoulder. We're leaving, now. But when I turned back toward the entrance, I froze. The footprints we'd seen earlier, there were more of them now. Fresh tracks leading away from where we were standing toward the stairwell at the end of the hall. Tyler Ethan's voice was barely a whisper. We didn't walk over there. I know we didn't. The stairwell door was hanging open, creaking slowly on its hinges. And from inside, I could hear something breathing, not human breathing. This was deeper, wet. Like someone trying to inhale through a collapsed windpipe. Camera, I said quietly. Turn off the camera. What? No way. This is turn it off. Ethan stared at me for a second, then slowly reached up and clicked the record button. The red light went dark, and the breathing stopped. Just like that. Silence again. I don't know why, but that was worse. So much worse. Because it meant whatever was in there knew we were filming. We need to check it out, Ethan said. Are you out of your fucking mind? Dude, think about it if something's actually in here. We need proof. This could be the biggest urban exploration find in decades. We can't just Ethan. I don't give a shit about views or cloud or whatever. Something is wrong with this place. He looked at me, and for the first time, I saw real fear in his eyes. But he also looked determined. 5 minutes, he said. We go up, check out the second floor, and if we don't find anything, we'll leave. Deal? I should have said no. God, I should have just grabbed him and dragged him out of there. But I didn't. 5 minutes, I muttered. That's it. We approached the stairwell slowly, our flashlights cutting through the darkness. The door was old, the paint peeling off in long strips. Someone had carved something into the wood, more scratches, deep and frantic. Stayed too long, the breathing sound didn't come back. But as we stepped into the stairwell, I noticed something. The walls were covered in handprints, hundreds of them, smeared in something dark and rust-colored. They overlapped and spiraled upward, like dozens of people had been clawing their way up the stairs. This is blood, Ethan whispered. It's old, I said quickly. 40 years old, at least. Oxidized. That's why it's brown. That doesn't make it better, Tyler. He was right. We started climbing. The stairs creaked under our weight, and with every step, I felt like we were being watched. Not by a person, by the building itself. Like the walls had eyes. Second floor. The door at the top of the stairs was already open. Beyond it was a long hallway, identical to the one below, except this one was worse. The fluorescent lights were still hanging from the ceiling, but they were shattered. Glass crunched under our feet. The walls were covered in more graffiti, more frantic messages. IT took Miller, don't open the doors, God can't hear US here. And at the far end of the hallway, silhouetted against the faint glow of a broken window, a figure, standing completely still. Ethan grabbed my arm. Do you see that? I nodded. My throat dried out. Hey, I called out, my voice echoing. Is someone there? The figure didn't move, didn't respond, just stood there, facing away from us. Maybe it's a mannequin, Ethan whispered, or a squatter. Someone who the figure tilted its head, slowly, not like a person, like something pretending to be a person, and then it started walking, not toward us, into the wall. I blinked, my brain refusing to process what I was seeing. The figure pressed itself against the wall at the end of the hallway, and then it just sank into it, like the concrete was water. 1 second it was there, the next, it was gone. Did you fucking see that? Ethan gasped. We're leaving, right fucking now. But before we could turn back, we heard a sound that made my stomach drop. A voice, distant, echoing, coming from somewhere deeper in the building. Help me. It was faint, broken, but unmistakably human. Ethan's eyes went wide. Someone's in here. No, I said quickly. No, that's not Tyler. Someone needs help. It's a trap, Ethan. Don't you get it? This whole fucking place is. But he was already running down the hallway toward the voice. Ethan, stop. I chased after him, my flashlight beam bouncing wildly off the walls. He skidded to a halt in front of a door marked Records Room, authorized personnel only. The voice came again. Please help me. It was coming from inside. We have to open it, Ethan said, reaching for the handle. Don't you fucking dare. He turned the handle. The door swung open. Inside was a small office, filled with old filing cabinets and desks. Papers were scattered everywhere, yellowed with age. And sitting in a corner, Hunched over with its back to us was a man, or what was left of one. He was wearing a security guard uniform, faded and rotting. His skin was gray, mummified. His hands were resting on his knees, fingers curled like claws. Jesus Christ, Ethan breathed. The corpse didn't move, but the voice came again. Help me, it wasn't coming from the body. It was coming from behind us. We spun around. The hallway was empty, but the footprints were back. Dozens of them now, overlapping, circling, spiraling down the hallway in both directions. And in the middle of them, written in dust on the floor, "You shouldn't have come here."